What's up, Unfiltered Waters family, and welcome back to another episode. Today we have Bobby Finke. Bobby is a four-time Olympic medalist, 3 of them gold, coming out of the 2021 Tokyo Games and the Paris Olympic Games just about a month ago. He is the current world record holder in the 1500, which he broke in the most legendary fashion in Paris. Today we talk with Bobby about life post-games, what he's been up to in all of his travels, and why it's so important to take a break. We hear about his experience winning the men's only individual gold medal for swimming and how he felt about that pressure mounting heading into the final night of competition. Bobby also shares exactly what's going on in his head strategy-wise on the way to breaking that controversial world record previously held by Sun Yang of China. We hear about the impact his sisters have had on his swimming career, having grown up with the both of them who both swam and both swam distance. We talk about why Bobby leans in to reading the comments and how he uses it as fuel to win. Finally, we get to hear what it was like to tell Katie Ledecky that she would receive the honor of flag bearer for Team USA at the closing ceremonies in Paris. And then we give Bobby a little surprise of our own. Bobby made this conversation so fun and impactful. He is such a legend in our sport at just 24 years old, and we cannot wait to see what his future holds. Without further ado, we give you Bobby Finke.
You guys have heard us talk about dream recovery 100 times, and guess what? You're going to hear it 100 more. We cannot get enough of all the amazing things that dream recovery has to offer. As you guys know, Katie and I have so much travel coming up this summer, and I feel like one of the things we haven't touched on is how important it is to maintain the best sleep you can when you travel, and dream recovery has everything you need in order to do that. I have started taking both my sleep mask and my mouth strips on the plane with me. I don't care if people look at me and think I'm crazy. I will use both of those things. I will get naps on the plane. I will sleep on them if they're an overnight flight, and then using them in the hotel is a total game changer. So make sure you're taking care of your sleep, not just at home, but also on the road, and doing it with everything from Dream Recovery. You guys can use code UNFILTERED to get 30% off your order and 50% off your first month subscription of Dream Tape. Sweet dreams. Hello, Unfiltered Waters family, and welcome back. Today, I am just so honored and so excited. An absolute legend we have, and fresh off of an unbelievable Paris Olympics performance, we have the one and only Bobby Finke with us. Bobby, welcome to Unfiltered Waters.
Hey guys, I'm really honored to be here and glad to be talking to you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you. And before we got started, I was like, I really hope we didn't bombard you too soon because we know it's a lot right after the Olympics. There's so many different things going on. So tell us a little bit, what have you been doing since closing ceremonies?
Yeah, well, everything kind of started right after my mile. I went that night to a talk show, and then of course, the media day and everything follows that, a whole bunch of NBC stuff. But I got to do it with a really good group, so that was a ton of fun. And then I traveled to south of Nice with my girlfriend Ellie, and we spent a couple days there, and then found out Katie was going to be nominated as the flag bearer. And all right, I was like, okay, well now I have to go back up and participate in closing ceremonies now. Originally, that wasn't the plan, but was able to do that, do a couple other things. So I was able to watch Katie go out with the flag and everything, which was really cool. And then got a text saying, hey, do you want to come to LA? Do you want to do some movie premieres? And I was like, sure, yeah, that sounds
let
like
me
fun.
check my calendar. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So flew to LA, did a movie premiere. The first movie is Jackpot with like John Cena and Simu Liu and Aquafina. I don't want to mispronounce her names. Aquafina.
Oh, yes.
And then I did the Emily in Paris season 4 premiere.
Oh my gosh.
Which was really fun. And then now I get to come home and relax a bit. I've had some good relaxing time, a lot of pickleball playing and stuff like that. But tomorrow I'm actually going to Daytona for the Daytona 400. It's something. It's It's a race. It's an
It's a
NASCAR race. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw that. That's so. Wait, so
Yeah.
are you the one that does the flag?
I guess so.
I guess.
I'm a little nervous for it because I don't know. Like, do I gotta like wave it properly or some way? I don't know. I'm not too flexible with my wrist or anything. So if they want me to do like that thing, I can't do that.
And normally it's like a. I feel like it's a girl and she has like a cute little bikini on that does that. So
I think that's literally only from movies. I don't
I think that's just Fast and Furious movies.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay. I will never. I was gonna be like, all right, buckle up because your outfit also might be. Let's move on. I actually want to go back. We're gonna move on from that. So, pickleball. I need to know because I am severely frustrated currently in my pickleball skill set.
Okay.
How are you at pickleball?
I'm terrible.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
I'm really bad. But I was able to pick the game up decently well just because I don't have a good ping pong or table tennis background, but we played it a lot growing up at college at University of Florida, and our team room was a ping pong table. So Kieran Smith and I,
That's awesome.
we would spend hours before practice and sometimes after practice just playing each other. So I was able to pick up the game pretty decently. I'm not good at it at all. I play with my girlfriend's uncle and I play with my girlfriend, and I'm happy to say I'm better than my girlfriend. So I'll throw her under the bus in there, but there's a lot of things I could be better at when it comes to pickleball. But yeah, no, it's a really fun game. I'm having a blast playing it.
It looks so fun. And I feel like it's also fun at this point in our lives to just be new at something and just like grow with it and let ourselves be bad and just,
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed you to tell me that 2 weeks ago, and I came home and I was like noticeably angry. I'll tell you why I'm noticeably angry because I feel like, do you guys play a lot of doubles or do you just play one-on-one?
Well, today was the first time I played one-on-one, and it's a hard one-on-one because like it's a small court, but you can really throw that ball on the other side of the court and everything. I'm like, I'm not that quick. But doubles is really fun because like once you're up inside, I think they call it the kitchen or so.
The kitchen.
When you're in there and you're just whacking it back and forth like the like the Mies from Wii tennis or whatever. It's just like that, which is really fun.
It is like that. Yeah. I think the reason is it's from I feel bad letting my partner down, or I feel
totally
bad.
get that.
Like I'm
yeah,
I'm the weak link making this like not a fun game for everyone. So that's more what it's about. But anyways.
That's totally your kind of attitude too.
Yeah,
You're always the put the team on your back.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, question we wanted to ask you before we get into Paris and talking about how amazing that was coming off of meet, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's World Championships, whether it's Pan Pacs, how do you decide how much time to take away from that pool, and why is it so important for you to take a step back?
Yeah, so it's each of those meets have been kind of different. Pan Pacs for me 6 years ago. Wow, I'm old.
Don't say that, please.
I really only got like a week off because college was starting, and I was excited to get to that. So I really only took a week there, which ended up being good for me. It was fine. Worlds and everything was only a couple weeks, just because I feel like this whole cycle is always a big build up to the Olympics. And Worlds, of course, like you're fully prepared to do your best there and everything. It's an end of season meet, you care about it and stuff, but I think everyone always has that goal in mind, is like the real prize is the Olympics.
It's every 4 years.
So like last year I took about 3 weeks off, maybe a little more for Worlds, and right now I'm feeling good about taking a little less than 4 weeks. I think I'll hit the water next Friday for a fun little practice, but I'll be taking pretty much the next week off because I'm going to be going to New York, and I won't be swimming there. So I'll take a little break there, and then I want to spend like the whole month of December, I think, just singling and maybe not training on the weekends either. Take the weekends off and just relax there, and then really start getting into it on October, and then hopefully be back to a really full workload schedule on November. And I kind of just learned that through the process, especially getting older and after COVID and everything, and kind of realizing that, like, hey, breaks are okay, breaks are good for you. And, breaks are also fun to take.
Yeah.
So it's always a nice thing to be able to step away from the sport, but also feel like comfortable and confident to get back into it. And I think that's what COVID, that time helped me realize.
And are you someone who needs to move every single day? Like, I feel like there's people that are just like, I'm on the couch and doing
Going
nothing.
stir crazy.
Yeah. Or are you just totally chill right now, not having to do any type of movement?
Yeah, I kind of got a little bit of both. I feel, I do feel it feels as if I have to do something. Like yesterday, I ran in the morning and did some core work, and I actually, before I went and played pickleball this morning, Ellie dragged me into Pilates. So I did that with her. So I am moving a lot, but like there's been probably, I don't know, half the time I'm not doing anything. The other half I am doing something. So my main goal is just making sure I feel good still.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't want to go back and then like get into speed. I'm like, oh damn, what happened?
Everyone is thinking that. So yes, thank you
Yeah,
for saying
yeah.
it.
So
You're like, all right, I'm all set. Yeah,
yeah,
not
yeah,
like moving is foreign to you. I feel like I've seen people that are
yeah,
like, I didn't leave the couch for 3 weeks, and I'm like, how are you even walking? Like you
yeah,
forget.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, we want to talk about Paris. We have so many questions around it. I want to start at your world record, your gold medal in the 1500. But I want to start specifically because we were talking. I feel like when you break a world record and then you look back on it, there's so many little moments like I had this bite of cereal and I felt like the magic was going to, there's so many little things that I look back on, like 6 or 7 things. So I want to hear if you have those things and if you can recall them, or is it too soon?
No, I mean, there's only one thing that really comes to mind, and it was, excuse me, it was one of those races where like you feel good. I guess I don't know. I have way too many races that feel bad. It's very rare that like I feel good in a race, and one of the things that we got told a lot, Matthew Solinsky, who was around the 1980s, 1970s Olympics, who also won, I want to say, the mile. Um, he would come to our practices sometimes, and he'd always tell us and remind us that feeling good is a luxury in this sport. So when I look back to that mile, and I remember how I felt, and I was like, yeah, feeling good is a luxury right now because that it helps me a lot in that mile. But if I like compare it to like how many times I've actually felt good in a race, um, it's less than a handful within these past like 4 years of feeling good, and it really strikes when I needed it most. So I'm very happy about that.
Was that from the second you dove in? Like the whole race you felt amazing?
Yeah, I mean, like before the race, I didn't feel good. Before the
Oh.
race, I was like, "Oh, this kind of sucks." I'm kind of sore right now. We'll see, a little tired, a little hungry. But I dove in. I was like, "Oh, my stroke feels good. Pushing off the wall feels good." And then I had a lead. I was like, "Okay, my brain's feeling good right now. Mentally confident and everything." And then um, kind of just building in through that like next 200, I was like, I feel really good, and kind of just kept going.
Thank you for normalizing too that
Yeah.
not every race feels great. Like I think that's sort of a big misconception is like we
Yeah,
train so hard, but it's not so that the races feel good. It's so that we
yeah,
can continue to execute
yeah,
and perform well even when they don't feel good. So I love you
yeah.
for saying that. And we'll get into this a little bit later as well, but a little bit different race strategy too. You are mostly known for just coming back and absolutely demolishing your last 50. Was it your plan going into this 1500 to be in the lead from start to finish?
No, not at all. So my my normal plan going into those races is just to race everyone around me, and I think that's why that last kind of 50 for me. Just coming back and trying to pass people and get my hand on the wall. But there something was off with this race. I don't know what it was,
It
but
was very,
um,
very good kind of off.
yeah, no, it worked. It worked. So I dove in. I was feeling good. I think I was in the lead at the 50 and at the 100. I was breathing towards my right, towards the most of the field because I was in lane seven. And I saw that I had a pretty decent lead at like 100. I was like, this is completely new to me. And then I kept going, just kind of kept building throughout it, feeling good. At the 200, I saw I had like almost a body length, and I was like, I can't really like waste this kind of potential right now. Because like a body length in most races is quite a bit. I think it's not that much, but it's enough to where I feel comfortable and confident to kind of keep going, especially at where I was at in that race. It was the very beginning, and I didn't feel like I was overdoing myself. So at that point, I really just tried to keep going with it and try to feel good and stay in the lead pretty much.
Element is a zero sugar electrolyte drink mix that helps restore hydration. We are in the summer months, people. We are sweating way more than we realize. Whether you're outside walking the dogs, playing with the kids, grabbing a workout, or hitting the sauna, it is impossible to keep up with by just drinking water. I know when I start to get a light headache or feel a little brain fog, it is my signal to grab an Element packet or grab the new sparkling Element out of the can and make sure that I'm staying hydrated. So, we've got a special code for you. Get your Element sample pack with any purchase. Go to drinkelement.com/unfiltered and stay salty.
True Niagen's mission is all about supporting healthy aging, enhancing cellular health, and improving overall vitality by increasing those NAD+ levels that naturally decline as we get older. So, what is True Niagen and how does it help? True Niagen boosts and replenishes your NAD+. NAD+ is a vital coenzyme that is already found in every cell of your body. It plays a crucial role in cellular metabolism by helping turn food into cellular energy. So at the bottom line, True Niagen can enhance your health span and combat age-related diseases, unlocking the secrets to a healthier life. And of course, it's NSF certified for any listeners we have that are actively competing. We have a special code for our wonderful listeners. You guys can use code UNFilteredWaters at your checkout for 20% off. I'm so excited to get feedback from you guys on this. Katie and I have noticed a huge difference while using it, and we're so thankful for the wonderful sponsorship of True Niagen.
I want to roll back to the 800 because I have a lot of respect for how honest you were about you won silver in the 800 and you were gold medalist in Tokyo. And we've talked about this a ton, right? Like gold, silver, bronze, like it's all fourth place, seventh place. It's all based on what your expectations are for yourself, what you want to do, what you consider your best. And so you were very vocal about your emotions and feelings around your silver in the 800. And then I'll let you speak to it, but what that then did for your 1500. So I would love to hear your thoughts and perspective on that.
No, I appreciate it. It's something I believe in. It's like, especially like for the younger generation to like understand that, we go through the same emotions. We're not like a super species or whatever, like dog, we're just like you too. We get disappointed in everything. um, so yeah, I was mad after the 800. I really wanted to win. I really believed I could have won. Um, Daniel was better than me that day, and he swam an incredible race, and he did something I couldn't do. And hats off to him. He pushed it and put an incredible time up there and won for Ireland, which was really cool to see, and I was really happy for him. I was looking at him on a podium, and he was tearing up a bit, and I was like, oh, it was kind of sweet. I was like, this is kind of nice. So it was really cool to see that. But yeah, no, it is. I was generally really disappointed within how I performed. If I take a step back, I do realize like my time it was a good time. I was less than a tenth off my best time, and my my swimming was there, and I truly gave like the best effort I did. And that's something I have to walk away from the pool is like knowing I did everything I could um, in the moment to get my hand on the wall first. But sometimes it's just not enough. But you know, you have your days and you don't have your days. And I think the best thing I really took from that race was just the motivation to get it done in a mile. Because it's really a silver in the Olympics is no joke. It's amazing. But I think I've said it in the interview too. I was like, oh, I was the first loser, so I wanted that. So took that away. Wanted something there, but it really helped me fueled a lot for that mile. And I don't know what would have happened if I won the 800 and swam the mile. So I kind of take it was like I needed to lose it in order to do what I did in the mile. I'm kind of taking that perspective right now, and I'm sure I'll appreciate the medal a lot more in the future. But right now it still stings a bit because you know I wanted to win. But I am glad that to me I believe it fueled me enough for the mile, and I think the mile is like my baby event, so I'm happy I was able to get it done in the event I care about most.
Yeah.
That is, that really got to me, that point, because in my mind, that's one of those lessons that just transcends the sport, right? Of in life, there may be something that doesn't go the way you want it to, and it can
Yeah.
be so frustrating and so
Yeah.
upsetting and so disappointing at the time. But to have you bring in that perspective of what happened next may not have happened had it not
Yeah.
gone the way that it did. So I think that that is just a good thing for all of us to remember, that when we're in those moments where we're disappointed, we're feeling all of that, to keep that perspective of how do I use this to better myself moving forward? What other opportunities do I have to make this into something, to use it to do something great, like win a gold medal and break a world record at the
Yeah.
Olympics?
Yeah. No, yeah,
May not be
yeah,
that
I
for
agree,
everybody,
definitely.
but that's amazing. All right, Bobby, I want to take it back a little bit to Tokyo, actually, because I think that meet for you and what you did for men's distance swimming for the USA was just so incredible, of you coming onto the scene. And for those that don't know, men's distance swimming in our country hasn't been historically our strongest event. And Bobby, when he won the 1500 in Tokyo, was the first male to do that since 1984, which is so wild. And he also won the 800, and he did it in, as we were talking about earlier, this classic Bobby fashion. So there's a term for it. It's called getting finked. And
You're a verb now.
it's a verb. And it's when you come back on this last 50, and with this, I mean, you talked about being like, you know, inhuman, otherworldly, but it's like that, this last 50. Like, I don't know where you get this speed and this power after swimming for that long and that hard already. But that was kind of wanted to ask you about, like, for all of us that are maybe approaching our hypothetical last 50 in life and situations, how did you train both your mindset and your body from the physical standpoint to be able to literally give everything you have and completely empty the tank on the last chance you got?
Yeah. So, thank you. It was, it wasn't something I was really aware that I was capable of. And I think that speaks a lot about like, it's more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing. Cause I do remember at the end of the 800, I was dead in that race. Like I flip turning and everything was really hard. And I was like getting my legs over was a struggle. So I don't really remember too much about how it happened, but mentally everything played out perfectly because the one thing I do remember and do notice was that I was catching Romanchuk, who was next to me in lane four. I was catching him ever so slightly over the course of the first 25 meters of that last 50. And that does a lot of motivation, gives you a lot of motivation to keep going because, like, you just push a little harder and all of a sudden you're on the stands, you're on the podium. I knew I was behind and I wasn't on the medal podium at that point. I knew I was around the fourth or fifth position. And I pushed off. I want to say I was ahead of, oh, I forgot who was it. He was in the end lane on the other side of me. I was in lane three, and I want to say he was in lane one. Um, and oh, I think it was Frolov from Ukraine as well. So I got ahead of him, and then the motivation and process of catching Romanchuk helped me a lot of just getting by Florian, and it just happened to be that Romanchuk was also getting around Florian too. So while I was catching Romanchuk, fully focusing on him, I was also getting around Florian as well. And then once I caught Romanchuk, got like a little bit of a glimpse over to Greg, and this was just like 15 meters left or so. And I couldn't really tell how far ahead Greg was or if I was in the lead yet. I kind of just knew it was going to be a touch thing. But again, like the motivation and that build up from the previous 35 meters or so was, it played a lot for me mentally to be able to get my hand on that wall. And physically it hurt a lot, but mentally is kind of what got me through that. It was just the motivation of taking it process and step by step at a time of catching the people around me, and then praying to God on the last like 5 meters that I would get my hand on the wall first. But there wasn't much I could do at that point. I
Can
was
I
like, oh,
just
there's a whole other human in the way. Oh man. But yeah, so it was a really big mental thing there.
I'm in awe of the amount of detail that you just described of the people and the lanes and the exact meters. Like that is pretty rare. Like, have you always been like that? Like there's some athletes that are like, oh, I just put my head down and I went. But it seems like you get more motivation the more information that you get.
Yeah, I mean, as like so like I do lose a little bit of like memory of like what happened in that race, but like stepping back away from that race over the years, I have remembered just different details about it, um, which is kind of just interesting to me. I don't know, but I'm not someone who's very detail oriented in practice. Is kind of a way. Like I'm detail oriented to an extent, but like I don't count my strokes or anything like that. I'm like I kind of just go for it. If my strokes are hitting like 36 per lap, or if they're hitting 30 per lap, it's what it is. I'm trying to get it done. That's really the only thing going through my mind. Just trying to get to the other side of the pool as fast as I can. So it's something I've learned to kind of just do is just rewatch my races too. And it's kind of like a motivating factor, especially going into these Olympics here, which is like I've done it before, I can do it again, kind of thing. And especially for the Worlds in 2022, because at that point people were still, or at least I thought there was people, still under the belief that like, hey, this is a one-time thing, like he's never gonna make the podium again or so. He came out of nowhere, which I did, but it was more so like I wanted to prove the people were saying that wrong, and I needed to prove it to myself. So I rewatched that video a lot, my 800 and 1500 a lot within that year of a build up, and just kind of like took different things away during that race each time while I watched it.
That's super interesting. I always have the question, and I don't know the right answer of there's some people that operate like with a chip on their shoulder, more of like a revenge, I'll prove it to you. And then there's some people where they're like, no, like I just want to do my best. And I think I'm a combo. I don't know
Yeah.
quite what you, I think you
Oh, I'm
got.
definitely, I'm just going to do my
Yes,
best.
yeah. Yes. I don't want to like fully say what I think, but like, what are you?
I I like to think I'm a combo of like because I always go in believing it was like I really just got to try and do the best like the 800 was, but I'll still always come away with like the disappointment and all those kind of emotions. Um, but it's also coming into these Olympics, I had a little bit of the chip on my shoulder kind of thing, which I was definitely aware of, and I think it did help the previous year was that I didn't win worlds. In a way, like I had a chip on my shoulder, but also in a way, I was a little bit of an underdog, at least in the 800 from the beginning. Maybe not into the finals, just because of see, I'm short. Ended up missing the finals. And then in a mile after Dan won, I think the chip was on his shoulder because he was already having a really fantastic meet to kind of get the job done again in a mile. So in the beginning, I felt like I had a chip on the shoulder, and I always end up doing decently well. I like to think I do well under pressure, to be able to perform the best, but I'm also trying to be mindful of like just try to do the best I can. That's something like my parents instilled in me at a very young age. It was like as long as you tried your best, I'll be happy, and I'll be able to walk away, confident eventually from the sport and knowing that I did whatever I could. Um, and I honestly could have gotten last, and my parents would have still been proud for me as long as as long as I did my best and gave the effort. So yeah, it's like a combination. I'd like to think.
Yeah.
It's when you know you've got great parents.
Yes.
Yeah,
No matter what, you get last, you get first. I love you.
yeah, yeah,
Well, speaking of parents, I know we really want to talk about this amazing support system that you have in both your family, your sisters are fellow distance swimmers,
yeah.
your UF family, the amazing training group that you have. So we'll kind of touch on all of that. But the first thing I want to talk about is your actual family. And it was so cool because Katie and I were actually together at the Team USA house when we were
Yeah.
watching your 1500, and NBC mic'd up your sisters during your
Yeah.
race. And
Yeah.
I loved it so much because it was so genuine of like, them kind of asking your sisters questions, but they're obviously so into your race
I
that they're
felt bad for them. I definitely felt bad for
that
them.
they're like cheering for you and they're like, hold on, wait. Like, but I just like, it was just so human in that moment of like, these are two sisters cheering on their brother at the Olympics. Like, and it was just so pure and so beautiful. So what was it like coming from a swimming family, a distance swimming family? And then what did it mean to you to have them there watching that swim in person in Paris?
Yeah. Well, first, it meant a lot. Second, I got them to blame for being a distance swimmer. So I grew up always competing with them, and they're pretty much the reason, where I am in the sport and kind of like my competitive drive to race people, is because, my mom swam, and then wanted to teach us how to swim, so my sister started swimming, and then being the little brother I am, I wanted to beat my sisters. So naturally, I start swimming, and what are they swimming? Oh, they go to distance swimming. So I start doing distance swimming, not really realizing the kind of pain I'd be putting myself into in
What
the future.
you're subjecting yourself
Yeah,
to?
what I'm really like signing myself up for. I was just being a little naive at like 5 years old. Should have known better, Um, it's like those jokes like when you're 8 years old. I was like, should have been investing now, buying Bitcoin or something. But yeah, no, they've been around for everything, from 2016 trials or 2015 nationals, 2016 trials. We were all together. 2017 nationals. I made my first world's team, and summer ran behind the blocks, and I saw autumn immediately after. So I got to owe them a lot. Um, they've been one of my largest support systems just growing up, and then of course having the rest of my family. I had a massive group there. I had my side of the family, my cousin, uncle, aunt, and my girlfriend was there with her side of the family and some of her cousins
Oh my
and
gosh.
her aunt too. So like there was a lot of people there. And my family's not always able to travel to all these meets. So having everyone there this time, and especially like the group that was there too, it meant a lot to me, and I owe them a lot for one, I mean, just being able to get out there and come, but two, just like for the overall support they've showed me throughout, these years and throughout my entire career.
Yeah, well, you can tell it meant so much to them too. And we all felt it getting to watch it, which was so special. And now a little bit more about your swimming family. So Katie has talked so much about how much she is just obsessed with training with you and Kieran. And I think we all got emotional watching Coach Anthony Nesty after your race. I think we've all said we've never seen him get that emotional after a race before. So it's so evident how much he cares about you, his swimmers. So what has that training group been like for you, and what impact did it have on you having the performance you did?
Yeah, I mean that I really couldn't have asked for a better training group ever. I mean, of course we got Katie here, world record holder who's been dominating the sport for 12 years now. And then Kieran, who I went to college with, raced a couple times in high school and has become one of my best friends. And of course Caleb's there, and then our entire freshman group is there, and our freshman class last year was hilarious. Um, Really good group of guys who just always race the entire time. But like I first joined UF when there was only two other distance swimmers. It was myself, Matt Anderson, and Drew Clark. And then it kind of continued like that for a couple of years. It became like it was still like a relatively small group. But now it's become, I like to think it's the biggest group in the pool is distance. You know, we'll take up a whole pool sometimes now, which I'm really proud about. You know, it's not just three dudes in an end lane banging it out. It's a bunch of guys just racing each other and getting after each other, motivating each other this entire time. Um, so yeah, I owe them a lot, and you know they've. I really don't know if I'd be at UF or even like swimming or so if I didn't have all those guys around me. So it's been a like true honor to keep them there and have Katie kick my butt in practice every now and then. So yeah, it's been a real pleasure to have them all.
Does Katie ever trash talk or like egg you on? Like
Oh
I could
man,
like at all, like even in a subtle
no,
way?
no. We tried to get her to.
We try to get her to. Do
Yeah, we
you trash
wanted
talk to her?
She's too nice.
I,
Like her trash talk is it's just gonna be like you won't be able to say anything back to
yeah.
me. So like she's just gonna drop a bomb on you and you're just gotta sit there and deal with it kind of thing. I'll
I
be
guess
like,
like you
oh, I
trash talk
won.
and
Oh,
can't
I
back it
did
up.
too. This is my fourth one. 4 years in a row now. I'm like, oh, I lost. So yeah, no, you can't trash talk Katie. It's not. You're just asking to. I don't
Just
even
get
know
destroyed.
to lose. Yeah, and then she'll back it up in like the next rep too. So you can't
Like
do nothing about
awakening a bear, like you don't want to do
it.
it.
Yeah. You just don't do that. This is one thing you don't do. But no, she's been a massive help to me and the rest of the guys there. She's been incredible to have on the program.
Yeah, I can't. I almost feel like you said, the whole pool is filled. It's distance swimming, which I love to hear. I feel like you and Katie and others are almost starting this revolution, at least I hope, of making distance swimming cool again. Because I feel like it was back in my day. I can say that now. I feel like it was like 400 IM and 800. Like it was. There was like a medal of honor of like, wow, you're really tough. You're doing these things. But I want to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about the men's team and you being the only individual gold medalist. And I have a lot of thoughts. I know everyone has a lot of thoughts, but I would say mine lean more on the positive side of things. And I've heard you voice that as well. So I would love for you to share your opinion on kind of the future of men's swimming and what you thought of the Paris performance.
Yeah. So it's my thoughts go both ways. Like it's disappointing. You know, it's like we're not like necessarily considered the best anymore in a way. Like we definitely still have like the guys and the depth and everything. Like when we'll always be there to compete. But it's also like I mean it points to you guys like how much you've been able to grow the sport, which is first and foremost what we should be aiming to do. Like you can't really have one country always dominating everything. Otherwise, it's just like sport's not really growing that way. Like there's not really a sign of the sport um, progressing if one country's just always being number one, beating everybody. You want the country to grow. You want the sport to grow more than just in your own country. Which it sucks to say because like you want your country to always be on top. That's something that's cool and insane to have, but it's also like you for the future of the sport, you need it to grow. And a lot of the time that's going to happen with you guys not being as dominant as you are before. And it's really shown signs these past couple of years of the sport growing a lot. And I hope it grows more, but I hope we start dominating again, like we find that balance, like, we'll just get back on top here, but like
Step
still
up to
grow
the
the sport,
challenge.
yeah, especially for LA, I think that'd be really cool. But like first and foremost, it's always about, making sure the sport is growing and providing better future for the swimmers, because then times are going to get faster. We're going to start seeing crazy things. We already think we see crazy things now. I can't wait to see what happens in like 30, 40 years in this sport.
Oh my gosh.
So to me, that's really exciting. Of course, it's disappointing, but it shows signs of a better future for our sport to me.
If you had to change, like, it's really hard to pinpoint one, but like, what do you feel like should change first or should grow first?
Yeah. So yeah, that's. Just. Ooh, sorry, my dog in the back.
Dogs are always welcome.
Yeah, no, he's just been chilling in the back. He just decided to cough. Right, I was like, "Oh, you good, buddy?"
You wanted to weigh in also.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially in developing countries. I think it's really important, and I think the one thing that's really cool to see is that they're training in their country. Like it's one thing to like you're training in just say like France, us, Australia, from like another country or so, and like win for that country. Like that's cool. But like if you trained in that country and then you won, I think it shows amazing signs for that country too. Is that like they're starting to develop the infrastructure to develop really, really fast swimmers. And I think that's really exciting and cool to see. And I love people from other countries winning because it shows that growth and environment that they're housing. So that's one thing I'd pinpoint, and I think it's starting to get a lot better. Of course, everything could be better, but that's one thing I really noticed at these Olympics, which is really cool to see.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
Definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, we would love to move on to more of we call it a sprint round question, but we can call it like speedy distance round for you. So we will kick it off with, you have Kieran, Emma, Katie, and Caleb, and you.
Yeah.
What is the order of arriving to practice?
Katie will get there. Katie and I will get to practice around the same time. Normally she's a little bit earlier than I am sometimes. Sometimes I'll get there. So it'll be Katie, myself, Emma, Kieran, and Caleb. Yeah, yeah. Caleb will push the button. Both Kieran and Caleb will push it a little bit sometimes.
Just rolling right in the nick of time.
I'll tease them both because they both live so far away too. So they got a little more like traffic to try and control and everything. Like Kieran moved like 30 minutes away, and I say you just live in like Georgia now or something.
Is there traffic in Gainesville?
In Gainesville, because like that's where everybody works is at the university pretty much. So that's where the traffic will get you, especially on the way out. It can get pretty rough, but that's order. It's Katie, myself, Emma, and then Kieran and Caleb are interchangeable.
around the same time.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
That's kind of exactly what I was expecting.
Because Caleb was kind of saying, he was like, oh, like my first day back, like just can't beat, he actually made it sound like it was like a tight race between Katie
There's
and
times
him.
where he shows up so early. There are times where he'll be there so early. Yeah. Like he'll get there when I get there. I'm like, what are you doing here right now? So yeah, he definitely does have his days where he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
Not consistent.
yeah, no, he's not really consistent with it.
We love that. All right. Kind of a two-part question. Part one, do you plan date nights with Ellie or does she do the date night planning?
She does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll try. I'll be like, oh, that's not a good idea. And then we'll do her idea.
Wait, what was the
ends up
bad
being a lot
idea?
better.
What was the
Well,
bad
no,
idea?
no, it's just like, I'll normally like find a good movie. Because we'll go, it's not hard to find a good movie. We both enjoy the same movies. Like whenever the new Marvel movie or like, we still have to see Despicable Me 4, and Inside Out. Well, she's seen Inside Out too. I haven't yet. So like, it's easy to like, I'll get the easy one. She'll plan like the really like good complex, like finding a dinner spot in Gainesville is kind of hard, like a good one, So there's only very few, and you don't want to have the same one every time. So she's really good at like finding those like intricate, detailed, and she gets the job done. She planned like almost everything for my family and her family to get over to Paris. So she's good at that stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. So kind of answered it, but part two of that was what you guys are doing. And it kind of sounds like movie, dinner, a little more relaxed, just enjoying each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now she's watching Modern Family and I kind of just joined in with her. Like, I don't even know what season she's on, but I kind of just joined in and started watching it. But we're a little busy over these next few weeks, but we're really trying to get Despicable Me 4 before it goes out of theaters.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it's not already out of theaters.
I don't
know. I'm sure you can
first.
find a theater that's still playing it. No doubt.
There'll be some old theater in somewhere playing it.
Okay, so that's the next date night.
Yeah. Probably Despicable Me 4 and a dinner before. So
That's perfect.
I love that. All right, so you talked a lot about distance relays. So what would be the ideal distance relay? And do you have a Mount Rushmore in your head of the other three guys that would be on it with you?
Yeah.
Any era.
So I don't know why people took me so seriously on this. Like it should actually be added, and I'm like, no, like stop it.
I know people. I saw like a petition. I was like, he's
Yeah.
not being for like. To be clear, I know you're kidding. I know
I know. It was like because I like reading comments and stuff. It's one of my things. And they're like, dude, like no, I'm not serious here. I thought it was so obvious, but I guess not. So I prefer it to be mixed, and because I want Katie there. I gotta have Katie there.
It's fair.
So I mean, let's see. It's got to be the people from the mile because that's theoretically going to be the slowest 50s. So myself, Katie Grimes, and David Johnston would have been the 4 from this year. And I think that would have been, I don't know if we would have won. Katie being on that really does help a lot. Because she threw down like a 5,200 free 8 years ago. So she's got it. She's got that speed. So she helps a lot in that relay. I can't really say much for the rest of us. So...
Katie Grimes has some speed every now and then.
Yeah, Katie Grimes, she does. So me and David, we're going to be the weak links of that relay. Might come down to how we do, because they'll kill it. But David's got speed too. He was the 4 free, so I'm the weak link. So yeah, it might come down to me. I don't know.
You guys would be great.
It'd be. I still think we could win. I think we could win.
I do too.
Just Katie alone should carry, and then like the rest of us will be good. And then,
Before we move on, I have to. You brought up the comments thing. We didn't talk about this earlier. I think you're the only one that we've interviewed that has said, I lean into the comments. I read every single comment. Can you tell
Yeah.
us why?
End of question.
It's fun.
Why?
I don't know. It's just fun to me. It's weird. I don't know. Just I personally I don't think I've really received like hate or whatever. Like no one's really like I hope not. I don't know. I haven't really like received hate, so I think it might be easy for me to do it. I don't know. I really enjoy reading comments where it says like the other competitors are gonna win or so. That's what I really enjoy reading because I'm like, oh man, I want to ruin your day.
Yeah.
So especially like when Sunshine comes out with like the oh what is it like not like they're betting. What's like
Oh,
they're
like
betting? I
their
can't.
predictions?
Yeah, yeah, their predictions, but like when everyone else can join in too. I forgot what it's
Oh.
called. And then it's people are going through like who they put and stuff. I'm like, I really got to ruin your day now. So that's what I get excited for. Yeah,
That's such a fun mindset to
I
have going into it. And
know.
I love that. And again, it's just such a good example that everyone is different and different things work for different people.
Yeah.
So maybe some
yeah,
stay away from the comments and others lean into it.
Ruin
Use
people's
it.
day all the time.
yeah. Like you're not getting a free backpack. Not today. Not on my watch. That's not
Nope.
happening.
You're going to have to buy that backpack.
Yeah, yeah. No free backpack for you. I'll take that from you.
I'm dead.
Oh, okay, just two more of the speedy distance cues. Last one for me. How did you find out that you were going to be the one to get to call Katie and let her know that she was going to be flag bearer of closing ceremonies?
Well, our media. So, okay, this was weird. Okay, so our media person, Nikki Warner, who has done an amazing
Yes,
job,
the best.
We love Nikki.
with us. She's been amazing. She texted me the day before saying, "Are you going to be available around this time for a special celebrity, or something?" And I didn't know at all until that morning or so. Who I was like, "Oh, it's just Katie."
Oh, it's
I'm like,
Katie.
that's awesome. And then she texted me like an hour before, or she called me like an hour before and was said, "Okay, you're going to." She texted and called me. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it was an early morning. She texted and called me and was like, "Okay, are you okay with announcing, Katie to be the closing flag bearer?" And I'm like, I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah, like, is that a question?
She's my girl. Like, this is awesome. So I spent that entire next hour rehearsing what I wanted to say in my head, or not in my head, like out loud. My girlfriend was just in the other room, just probably laughing at me the entire time. So I didn't even say it right either. I messed up too.
No, I thought it was
yeah.
perfect.
Well, you-
Oh,
supposed to
thank
say.
you, thank you. There,
Yeah,
there
it
was
was
more.
amazing.
There was more I wanted to say, and I messed up a couple of words because I wanted it to be like perfect or whatever.
Oh.
So I spent like that whole next hour just trying to prepare myself to say it. I don't know how many times I said it, but it was a lot. And eventually, I just got a call, and we waited there for like 5 minutes, and then Katie's face popped up, and then I just went off, and I'm like, "Oh, sweet, here we go." And then and there was like an awkward pause at the end too because they didn't have the jacket ready in time, so we just started talking, and she was like, "How's Nice?" I'm like, "Oh, Nice is great, yeah, open water right now. That's cool, yeah." And then they got the jacket on and everything. So yeah,
I actually do
that
remember
was fun.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most heartwarming story I think I've heard of the
I
whole
know.
Olympic Games. All right, well, final one. What are some wrong assumptions that people have about you because you're a distance swimmer?
Ooh. I don't know if there's been any wrong ones, more just right ones.
Okay.
Um, like it's just going back and forth. Um, I don't know really what too many assumptions there are because like distance swimming is pretty. I don't want to say plain, but it's very simple to understand. It's literally just going back and forth. Um, I guess the wrong one is like they assume I do open water is kind of they. I got a lot of questions. It was like, "Oh, so you swam in the Seine or the Seine?" And I was like, "No, no, miles in the pool. I wasn't gonna swim in that water." But I think that was the biggest that was the biggest one that I saw after the Olympics, is that they thought the mile was swum in the river. I was like, no, no, no.
No, no.
My gosh.
Chlorinated.
Yeah, yeah. Healthy water. Yeah.
Please and thank you. Oh, all right, Bobby, this has been so much fun. We could go on forever, but we want to be respectful that you're on your break and we want you to go do everything else. So we're going to go into our final 3 questions. They're the same questions we ask every guest we have on every episode. So the first one is, what is a moment within the sport of swimming that brings you the most amount of joy?
Yeah, it's definitely our training camps together. This is one I've thought about a lot recently. Is like those training camps leading up to those major meets, especially the Olympics, have been like some of the best times I've had in the sport, you know. Especially this last one when we were in Croatia, and it was just myself, Kieran, Nick Fink, and Caleb all in one room, and we're playing like Super Smash Bros. Together, and we're just screaming in a hotel room so loudly. Like, we're at the other end of this super long hall. Nessie gets off the elevator along with Thomas Howman, and then like you hear us from all the way down there, and then like Thomas just looks at Nessie, and Nessie like shakes his head and just like starts walking.
He's like, I'm not even.
Yeah. those are generally like some of my like favorite moments in the sport. It's just like it's just like the people I got to meet and people I get to hang out with, which means a lot.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty much all of our favorites too.
Yeah, I know. I actually feel like that's been at least like 75% have said just that. Like, it's the training camps. Like, you have the best time of your
They're
life.
so fun.
Like, make the team just for the training camps. Honestly,
Yeah.
if I could just go to the training camps.
Go to these like amazing areas and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, same question. A moment or memory outside the sport of swimming that's brought you the most amount of joy.
Ooh, outside of the sport. Honestly, it's just hanging out with my family and my dog too, which is it's amazing. I'm a really big pet person, so it's something I do want to do when I'm older. Is hopefully rescue all the pets in the world. That'd be the goal. But I'm a really big pet person, so like just hanging out with my family and the pets is some of the best times. And yeah.
What kind of dog do you have?
So right now, our rescue dog is a mix between a German Shepherd and a Golden Retriever, and he is sniffing the door. Um, he's a little over 7 years old now, so he's getting up there. He's getting older.
Sweet boy.
But yeah, he's adorable. I love him.
Oh, well, I can absolutely see that future for you,
Yeah.
like Bobby's rescue farm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just,
Next career after swimming.
just like join up with all of Caleb's farmland, and then
Yeah.
the two of
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
just like have this conglomerate of
Yeah.
rescue.
I'll just take a little
animals.
pin in the back and just like put all my
Be
all my
perfect.
dogs in. Put a little house in for me.
Just
Run with them in the morning or something. I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
he would love that.
He totally would.
Chase his cows around.
All right. Last question is, if you had to pick a word to either encompass what the last few months have been like for you, what the experience has been, or something you're going to focus on moving forward, what would that word be and why?
Yeah, I've thought about this one too, and I didn't really realize this was going to be my word until like we did the podcast, but it's appreciation, just for like what the sport has brought to me. It's brought to me my amazing girlfriend of 6 years, and it's brought to me, of course, my family. It's something we all have really been in common. My dad's a coach. My sister swam. My mom swam. And it's something it's one of our biggest bonding points. And it's brought to me like all my friends and everything, and it's brought me to amazing places. So it's something I've learned to have a really deep appreciation for is the sport of swimming.
Beautiful.
So beautiful.
The amount of times you and I have gone, oh.
I know. Just these like sighs of like, oh.
All right, before we close, so we have something for you. So we are new in our venture here at Unfiltered Waters. So we do not have the current funds to give you a $50,000 check like you received from Shannon Sharp and Ocho. However, we think IOUs are, I don't know if you can see this, this is a $50,000 check, an IOU for LA 28. We have both signed it. So if you break the world record and win a gold medal in LA, you get this.
That's perfect.
I have to say, I watched that like the day it came out, and I was like, that is so epic.
So cool.
So
Yeah.
cool. And then I was like, man, I wish we could do that, but not yet.
We can't. We can't.
But for real.
Maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future.
No.
So
That's the goal.
Yeah.
I'll send you a picture so you can text it to me in LA.
Thank you. That sounds good.
Anyways, Bobby, thank you so much for taking the time. You've got a lot of exciting things going on right now. We're so freaking proud of you. You represented us
Thank
so
you.
well. And I hope you have an amazing time tomorrow with your flag.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm nervous for it. We'll find out.
You'll be great. Thank you
I keep
so
telling
much.
everyone I'm going to drop it, but yeah,
You won't. You
No.
won't. You're
You
going to
handle
do
pressure
great.
well. You'll be great.
we'll see. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure and it's an honor to meet you guys and be on this podcast. So thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much, Bobby.